How much had to go wrong for 5 inmates to break out of prison, steal a car, and lead the cops on a nationwide manhunt?
You know, these guys were lucky.
It all went down last month at this Missouri prison. In the early evening on January 17th, all 5 prisoners slipped through a false wall and found their way out of the jail, says the county sheriff.
Actually went through a plumbing chase through the cell that should have been off limits. Found a piece of metal in there to pry the door open with, come out on the roof. They're doing work on the building. A ladder was left to the roof on the outside of the building.
The prisoners were discovered missing during a 10 p.m. inmate count, and the cameras that would have caught their escape were down because of construction. The sheriff attributes their getaway to one simple thing:
human error. That's what happened. That's why these people are out right now.
On foot, they got a mile outside of the prison and ended up at the gated parking lot of this healthcare company. That's where a security camera picks up a few of the inmates walking along this fence wearing t-shirts and leggings, having ditched their orange prison garb. The 2 escapees go up to the gate, crawl underneath it, and run into the lot, and from there, they check out a bunch of cars until they find one they're able to steal. They then drive back to the parking lot's entrance, the gate opens, and the other 3 escaped inmates pile into the stolen car. Not only did police say that stolen car had temporary plates, it also had a full tank of gas and a credit card inside.
We don't believe in coincidences all the time, but it seems like a chain of events. Stars lined up for these guys.
The day after the escape, U.S. Marshals issued these bulletins, each offering a cash reward and stating the inmates were a flight risk. And residents told local news they weren't terribly comfortable with 5 prisoners disappearing into their community.
I am scared because I have a lot of little grandbabies and my daughters are tiny.
Locals had good reason to worry. As another sheriff noted,
just keep in mind when people escape and they're trying to get away, they're very, very desperate and they do desperate things.
2 days after their big escape, cops got their first break when they received a tip about one of the inmates. Witnesses say they spotted him in a Missouri bar, drinking a glass of water and behaving strangely. On Friday, cops tracked him down to a resale shop and placed him under arrest. 1 down, 4 to go. Later Friday night, cops catch their next break in Ohio when Highway Patrol spots their stolen car. After tailing the car, cops perform a traffic stop and go up to the vehicle. They appear to question the people inside for a few moments when suddenly, the car speeds away. Cops immediately get back into their vehicle and start tailing the car, which runs a red light and then another as it leads the cops all over town in a high-speed chase. The stolen car eventually comes to a stop in a neighborhood, and all 4 guys get out and run away.
Personal travel.
Officers on foot were able to stop 2 of them and get them back into custody. A few hours later, police tracked down a 3rd guy from the car, leaving 4 down, 1 to go. In Ohio, a sheriff sent out a reverse 911 call to alert locals of the escaped convicts.
Basically what that does, sends a call out to the residents in that pinpointed area and notify them to lock their doors, don't answer the door.
Someone in the area spotted someone suspicious, and soon enough, a person was found inside of a car.
The windows were fogged. That's a sign. And there was somebody hiding in the back seat, hunkered down, hiding in the back seat. And I was told, I don't know who was the most shocked, our guys that found him or the guy hiding in the back seat.
This drone footage captures the 5th inmate's arrest, and on Saturday morning, all 5 prisoners were back in custody. That's a good thing, too. These criminals were serving hard time for serious crimes. One was in jail for burglary, another for stealing a car, and 3 of them were sex offenders.
Without these apprehensions, Lord knows what would have happened and what could have happened.
The 4 prisoners who made their way to Ohio are in the process of being extradited back to Missouri, and all 5 of them will face additional charges. And if you ever find yourself doing construction at a prison, don't leave a ladder near the roof.
Out to my man Greg over there at Crime Line. You know, I love his sense of humor because he don't report it lame. You know what I'm saying? He don't, make it all, well, this is broadcasting live. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have some type of humor into things because, just like that movie You People, we living in so many divided worlds on one earth, and we have to be able to understand. And I like how he do stuff. You know what I'm saying, towards the end, to make some humor into a bad situation, just so it won't be all depressing. I like my man for that. You know what I'm saying. But anyway, sad. They got away. And like he said, don't be leaving no ladders around because they can get on top of the roofs and etc. etc.
And for a long time, I wanted to die too.
One bad decision can flip countless lives upside down. Today, we're covering 6 more live courtroom sentencings of drunk drivers. Number 6, Matthew Carrier.
Oh my God, someone is screaming in the car. Okay, is anyone injured? Yes, all of them are injured.
On May 9th, 2017, 21-year-old Matthew Carrier got behind the wheel with a suspended license after a night of drinking with his friends. He was speeding at 100 miles per hour when he blew past a stop sign and crashed into a Cadillac. The 3 passengers in the Cadillac were killed: 35-year-old Candace Lynn Dunn, her mother, 69-year-old Linda Hurley, and her mother's boyfriend, 73-year-old Jerome Joseph Tortomasi. Upon impact, Matthew's car flipped and burst into flames. He had 2 friends in the car with him, 18-year-old Justin Humberto Henderson and 24-year-old Preston Wetzel. They were also killed in the crash, leaving Matthew as the sole survivor. He claimed he didn't see the stop sign and couldn't remember the collision. He just remembered waking up in a field with an injured leg. His blood alcohol level was 0.18. The legal limit is 0.08. During Matthew's sentencing, he spoke directly to the court about his actions.
I should have slowed down, opened my eyes, saw the situation for what it was, and really thought through what I was doing. I realize now that this moment is all there is. I see how important it is to use it wisely and to be mindful of the consequences.
Then Candace Dunn's sister took the stand.
Everyone wants to say that this was a mistake by a young kid. I don't believe that. Your record speaks for itself.
That record is speckled with alcohol-related charges. Matthew was convicted of alcohol possession as a minor in 2013 and 2016, and was convicted of driving while under the influence in 2014. For the May 9th crash, Matthew was charged with 19 different counts, including second-degree murder, 2 counts of operating a vehicle while intoxicated causing serious injury, and 2 counts of driving on a suspended license. He was sentenced on October 19th, 2018.
He set to serve a term in Michigan Department of Corrections for a period of 390 months to 60 years with credit.
Judge wasn't buying his stuff. Y'all seen how many times he got in trouble for alcohol? And this is why I be wondering, like, dang, alcohol is this, alcohol is that. And they still, you know what I'm saying, let you advertise alcohol the way it is. Even though you can be responsible with alcohol, and how they trying to get rid of these guns. What if they ban alcohol in the United States? Just like how they trying to ban guns, you know what I'm saying? Because they do the same equal damage. You mix both of them in the wrong way with humans, you know, bad things can happen. And we see this guy had a little history of bad things that happened with alcohol.
Number 5, Blake Tallman. On January 7th, 2012, after attending a beach party, Blake Tallman got in his car and drove down a main road, reaching speeds of up to 90 miles per hour. He lost control and struck a woman jogging on the sidewalk with her dog. 53-year-old Donna Chen was killed. Blake attempted to flee the scene, but he crashed into several road signs, a light pole, and another vehicle. His blood alcohol level was 0.22. The legal limit is 0.08. He was arrested and charged with DUI manslaughter, among other charges, including DUI with property damage and fleeing the scene of a crash. At first, Blake pleaded not guilty and refused to take a plea deal. But before his trial was to start, he agreed to the deal and pleaded guilty. During his sentencing, Blake spoke directly to Donna's family.
I never set out to hurt anybody. I'm very sorry for everything. If I could give my own life, I would just for you guys to have Donna back for 1 second.
Blake was sentenced to 15 years in prison, followed by 5 years of probation. His driver's license was permanently revoked. Number 4. Eliza Russell. In the early hours of June 13, 2013, 22-year-old Eliza Russell decided to drive home after a night of drinking with friends. She lost control of the car while trying to make a left turn and jumped the curb, plowing through bushes and skidding through a parking lot. Mackenzie Jules and Samuel Artez Martindale were hanging out in the lot when they were struck by the vehicle. Jules was pronounced dead at the scene. Martindale died later that day at the hospital. Police officers tested Eliza's blood alcohol level, which was more than twice the legal limit. She was charged with 6 charges, including 2 counts of DUI manslaughter and 1 count of unlawful blood level property damages. And this wasn't Eliza's first run-in with the law. In 2012, she had been charged with driving without a valid license and without lights. During her sentencing, Eliza expressed regret for her actions.
And I was screaming, oh God, what have I done? And for a long time, I wanted to die too. And I did it all to impress a bunch of people I didn't even know. The cold hard truth of the matter is that Mr. Jules and Mr. Martindale died because I was shallow and lonely and insecure.
She pleaded guilty to all charges, and under the terms of a plea deal, Eliza was sentenced to 5 years in prison and 5 years of probation after her release. She also made a promise to the victims' families during her sentencing.
I will never stop fighting to prevent tragedies like this one from happening again.
After hearing this about her, I think I'm about to look her up on everything. I'm about to look her up and see exactly is she keeping up to her word, you know what I'm saying? Because she should be out on probation and stuff. Her name should be buzzing around wherever she at. If she's really out there talking, you know what I'm saying, like this, trying to stop people from drinking and driving, because it do destroy a lot of lives, you know. So we about to see a little bit about her.
Number 3. Devin Kessler. 19-year-old Devin Kessler is in court for causing a crash on August 12, 2015 in Hawaii. Witnesses said Devin was speeding on the highway, weaving his Jeep through traffic when he lost control and smashed into a guardrail. The car hit a light pole and rolled twice. All 4 of his passengers were thrown from the car. None of them had been wearing seatbelts. Devin's girlfriend, 18-year-old Courtney Britton Schubert, was pronounced dead at the scene. The other 3 passengers were seriously injured. One of them, 22-year-old Joshua Tika, was on life support following the crash, but survived. Devin's blood alcohol level was 0.13. The legal limit is 0.08. He was charged with 5 counts, including negligent homicide and driving under the influence while under 21. He pleaded no contest. During his sentencing on March 23, 2016, Devin spoke directly to Courtney's family.
I want to say sorry to Courtney's family for what I did, pain and suffering that I put them through.
He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Number 2. Cassie Cunningham. This daycare teacher is in court for a crash that happened in February 2014. Cassie was speeding towards an intersection at 107 miles per hour while 22-year-old Kristen Knight was pulling out of a red stoplight turned green. Cassie's SUV crashed into Christine's Kia Rio, sending the small car hurtling 500 feet down the road. Kristen didn't stand a chance and likely died on impact. Cassie's blood alcohol level was 0.20 at the time of the crash, well over the legal limit. She was also high on marijuana. During Cassie's sentencing, she asked the judge for a chance to speak to her community.
To the parents and the children that I have taught over the years, forgive me for letting you down. Kristen was one of those children. I prayed with her as a little girl. I will carry that memory with me. To my family, my fiance, and my 2 little girls, thank you so much for your love and support. Forgive me for bringing this shame upon our family.
She then spoke directly to Kristen's family.
But most importantly, to Kristen's family who loved and cared for her mother, Donna. There are no words that truly convey the sorrow and the anguish I feel over the pain that I've caused you. I have grieved with you over the loss of your sweet girl.
Cassie faced up to 25 years in prison, the maximum sentence for her charges. Before giving Cassie her sentence, the judge said he couldn't ignore her record, a previous DUI charge in 2008, or that she'd reached that speed in the middle of the day.
The sentence of the court is 23 years.
Number 1.
See this right here, from what that teacher did, that daycare lady or whatever, to her own, you know what I'm saying, student she took care of at the daycare. This is what I was talking about. This is me. This is the person behind me. And the person in front wasn't paying attention, and the person behind me wasn't paying attention. I know that pain right there. I'm just happy it wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy. I know that pain. I felt that. That's bad. That's super bad because, yeah. But don't drink and drive.
Number 1. Katie McRosso. After finishing work on September 25th, 2015, 22-year-old Katie McRosso went out to a sushi bar with her friends for dinner and drinks. At the same time, 56-year-old Lorraine Kennedy and her husband, David Sandale, were at a Mexican restaurant celebrating their granddaughter's 4th birthday. Their paths would cross in the worst way possible. Katie got behind the wheel and was driving with no headlights when she struck the couple head-on as they crossed the road. Lorraine died on the scene. Her husband suffered extensive injuries, but ultimately survived. Katie's blood alcohol level was 0.12. The legal limit was 0.08. At first, she pleaded not guilty to 4 felony counts, including second-degree murder. That charge carried a sentence of 21 years to life in prison. She later changed her plea to guilty on 2 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter and DUI causing bodily injury. And this wasn't the first time Katie had a run-in with the law. She was convicted of drunk driving when she was just 17. She was sentenced as a juvenile and attended 6 months of Alcoholics Anonymous classes. Lorraine's family took the stand during Katie's preliminary hearing, recalling that devastating day. Her son Travis was first.
Tried to talk to my mom, and as her pulse went away, I proceeded to attempt CPR.
Next was her husband David.
I had a lacerated liver, 4 broken ribs, my left side, had 2 bones sticking out of my left leg.
He spent 54 days in the ICU. During Katie's sentencing, Travis spoke directly to her.
I cannot say that I forgive you today. I can only say that I understand mistakes happen, because I've made my fair share. I had a mother that taught me mistakes are okay, and as long as we learn from them, they were not mistakes, but only tough life lessons.
As part of a plea agreement, Katie was sentenced to 11 years and 8 months in state prison. She was to serve 10 years before she's eligible for parole.